So we're sitting down here to talk about a game that's the most funded UK game on Kickstarter ever, one of the most funded video games ever, Yooka-Laylee, sort of a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, if you will, but also a game in its own rights, of course, and something unique and new. Tell us first about how did Yooka-Laylee come to be?
I think it's been a really kind of happy set of fortunate disasters where the original team from Banjo-Kazooie that I worked with back in 1995, they were all available. So some guys had quit Rare, some guys had been laid off from Rare. I was over here in America working, and it just became a really weird thing that everyone was free together. So it's this, and we've been talking about it for so many years about maybe trying to do another game like that, but no one had the time, or people were working different places. So it's all kind of come together really like magic, really. And they're all just kind of available and just decided to have a go. And like Gavin Price, the creative director at the studio, he kind of took it on himself to arrange it all the kind of financing options and to get the company together and all that kind of stuff, and brought us all together, and then that's how it kind of kicked off. So yeah, that's it. It's been a really weird thing. Yeah.
And I suppose it got even weirder when you got the response you got for your Kickstarter. Really just blew everyone away and quickly got funded and went on to achieve a lot of stretch goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone predicted that it'd go as fast as it did. I mean, we were all pretty amazed when we smashed our target goal in less than 40 minutes, and then our stretch goals in just over 24 hours. It was pretty amazing atmosphere in the office, in the studio. Everyone was just staring at the screen, watching the number go up, and it's really humbling to see all the fans come behind the project and ensure that it's going to be as good as it can be.
Apart from the money, what are you looking for from the backers, from the community? That you now have a great community of people who are invested in this project. Are you looking to engage with them in any way along the journey?
Yeah, I think something we like to do is because we feel they have a vested interest in this game, because they've all put their hands in their pockets and brought money out to make the game, right? So that's amazing straight away. So I think to keep a lot of the best kind of indie games that I've seen have maintained a real strong presence with the fans. It's a really great thing to get ideas from them, and because there's no corporate entity between us and the people that want the game. It's just us and them, right? There's nothing between it. That's it. It's so nice to have a direct contact. They can get hold of us by Twitter or whatever and talk straight to us. It's not like anybody else to go through. So it's really great to have that kind of like no walls. So, and we feel such a responsibility to those people for funding the game. It's a real heartfelt thing for us to do this game like this, and to have so many people back us is like just incredible. So we want to maintain a real strong presence with the communities, much as we can.
If we talk about Yooka and Laylee and the setting and the world, what kind of place is this, and what kind of characters are there?
Well, the world this time is themed on books and literature. So you'll have a collectible in the game called Pages, which you'll use to unlock new worlds via these big books and libraries kind of within the hub world, and there'll kind of be a narrative behind that, and also the ability to expand the worlds this time. You'll be able to use your Pages to make the worlds bigger and more complex, and there'll be a narrative reason behind that about why the worlds you'll see areas of the world that may be invisible or unclear, and there'll be a reason for that within the narrative.
Also think that Yooka and Laylee, the characters, they have a lot of different nice little moves that they put together, and that is sort of a key to a great platform in my mind, that the main character, or the main characters in this case, have their own unique abilities and sort of their own unique twist to a platformer, because you don't want them to be just like any other platformer.
No, I think like with Banjo-Kazooie, that was a big part of that game, that there's it's fun moves to do. So this game will be no different. It'll have all that kind of fun stuff. So it'll be fun to learn it and fun to do it and use it. And also there might be extra things in the game where you may extend an ability for a little while. So to get to something really high or something far away, an extra long jump for a little while or something like that. So we're trying to think of ways to enhance that kind of approach to the game, so people get lots of extra bits to do, and there's secret things that you can't quite get to and you need to work it out, and all that kind of fun stuff that we all love about those kind of platform games in the past. So we're really consciously thinking about how we can make that better and like make it even more fun than it already is. So that's a big part of the game, obviously. Yeah.
I think the way the characters were designed to start with were all about, trying to work out which animals or creatures would have the most fun, outlandish platforming moves, and that's why we settled on the Bat and the Chameleon. Our character designer, Steve Mouse, who created Banjo and Kazooie, he was able this time to kind of think of that, like come from that approach, like what kind of animals would be fun to play as, and we settled on those because versus a bird, the Bat will have obviously lots of really cool moves like to do with like sonar blasts, and the Chameleon will be able to camouflage and use his tongue and like maybe like gobble things up and take on their properties. So there will definitely be a lot of really cool moves in this game.
I can't have you here without talking about the music. Such an integral part of a lot of those rare classics. What kind of mindset did you go into sort of composing the soundtrack for this?
I think this first tune that you can hear now, the jungle tune, I wrote it, I was trying to compress all the kind of Banjo-Kazooie-isms into one tune, because for the Kickstarter, I wanted people to understand what we were trying to do. So I think that was very important to get that point across. But I think going forward, I'm probably going to make it less so, not quite as obviously Banjo-Kazooie. So I think it's like looking over our shoulders to kind of pick out those little bits that people recognize, so it's not just a copy, but it's pick out the best bits of the old stuff, the funny chord sequence or the funny melody, and then add new things to it, because hopefully I'm a better composer now than I was back then. I can't promise anything, but I'm trying. So I think that's really, really important to try and get that across. So it's not just a retro game, it isn't that, it's like it's got that spirit from behind us, but we're looking forward to the next thing, so to make it, to bring it into this century, I suppose it is, nearly, yeah. So that kind of thing. So musically, I think I'm gonna incorporate lots of those little tricks, but also bring tons of new stuff that's gonna make it, hopefully, it'll still sound like me, but hopefully new me, not old me.
This whole process obviously very sort of, but and what we're seeing behind us here is a very early sort of prototype build. How do you envision the road ahead now that you've got the funding, now that you got sort of things in place? Where are you going from here, and sort of what's the road ahead?
Well, certainly now we put our heads down, with the expectation, the weight of the expectation on our shoulders, and start working on the game. Certainly there's a hell of a lot to see already. We've been moving very quickly. As you say, the demo behind you is only 3 months' work, so it's pretty spectacular how much we've been able to come up with in a short space of time. We're going to get our heads down now and concentrate on making the game, building the worlds, and hopefully living up to expectations.
I think I've worked with these guys a lot, so like for 12 years solid at Rare, so I know what they can do, and I know how they work, So like these people have done like 9 till 9 for years, just always they just get their heads down and they work really hard. It's kind of inbred when you got to Rare to be like that. So all these people like Chris Sutherland and Stephen Hurst and Steve Males and Mark Stevenson and Jens and all those, I keep forgetting the names, but I mean, they just used to just work and work and work, and like that's what they do, right? They're so proud of their work, and I also feel that because of the Kickstarter thing, the responsibilities on our shoulders it feels not heavy, but it feels we owe it to those people to do the absolute best we possibly can, and we don't take that lightly at all. It's really mega important for us to think that we've got this stuff, So it is heads down and work hard to get the game done in time. We haven't overscoped it. We can do the scope. We've been very careful about that. So we haven't promised things that we can't deliver, which is really important. So, we think we've got it right. So we're just going to work really hard and do it.
So I think that can be sort of a problem when you're so successful on Kickstarter, that all of a sudden you think, okay, we got to increase the scope, we got to sort of make it this grand thing, and you may get it delayed many years because you're trying to do something that perhaps wasn't the original plan, but you're not doing that then.
No, I think that, we're all we've all been doing it for like 20 years, probably all kind of thing each. It's a long time to work on games. We've all AAA games all that time really, so we know about scoping. We know we should be experienced enough by now to realise what not to do. Hopefully, so we really have been really careful about that. Who knows, right? But we really have been mega careful to try and make sure that it's doable in the time period. So, it is an educated guess. It always is, but we're very confident that we can pull off what we need to pull off in the time. Ask me in a year.
Oh, we'll see. That's it's just nice to see this kind of game get created, because that is one of the things that genres sometimes get a little bit lost. They get forgotten about, and certainly this sort of mascot-based game has sort of. I mean, unless you have a Nintendo platform, of course, you got a lot of the big Nintendo stuff. But other than that, it's a lost art in a way, and I think that is what people were so excited about with Yooka-Laylee, that bringing back that sort of game and that we grew up with, but that perhaps has been lost a little bit.
No, you can answer that one.
I mean, it's mutual. The feeling is mutual. It's great among the team for them to be able to make this sort of game, right? I mean, because they want to make it as much as the fans want to see it made. Some of them left Rare for different reasons. I mean, some of them quit their jobs at Rare to come and make this game. They're all super passionate about living up to expectations, and I think there's some confidence among the senior people of the studio that they're going to do it just because of that pure drive to get it done right.
I think that kind of first-person shooter has been a big thing for a long time, and it's a great thing for people, but there are people that don't want to play that. So I think that it's been forgotten a little bit that people exist out there that want to play a different kind of game, and I think, like in the music industry, nowadays in the music industry, like metal exists next to country music, next to pop, next to everything. It exists all at the same time, right? I think that, and the games industry hasn't kind of been like that for a little while. It's been like first-person shooters an awful lot and nothing else. And why can't everything just exist together? There's no reason why it has to be just shooters or just platform or just anything else. It's great.
The audience is a lot bigger now than it was in 1998. There's not just one demographic. There are a lot of different platforms and a lot of different kinds of people who play games. And there's no reason that this type of game can't exist like many other different types of games that appeal to different demographics.
Well, we're certainly happy it can exist, and I'd like to thank you both for taking the time to talk to us.
You too, sir. Thank you for wanting to talk to us too.
Thank you. Pleasure.